A Colorado man witnesses a tragedy on Mount Everest and tries to help out. He was climbing the world's largest mountain over the weekend when the harsh conditions killed at least 4 climbers nearby. Tonight, you'll hear his story only on Fox 31 Denver. Here's Jeremy Hubbard.
Well, Libby, here's where it happened. Approaching the summit of Everest along this ridge right here called the Death Zone. Here's a closer look right here. This one area is where dozens of climbers have died over the years. It was Sunday. Colorado mountaineer Jon Kedrowski was in this same area trying to get up to the mountain, to the summit, but another group was coming down, and the altitude and the wind and the frigid conditions proved too much for them.
This is Jon Kedrowski, Fox 31 Denver.
When the Avon native stood right here in the shadow of Everest before the climb, he knew the haunting sights he might face, but you can never quite prepare.
There's not a lot you can do for somebody that's dying and frozen to death.
Among the 4 climbers killed, this German doctor, this Canadian woman, and one man who was so disoriented by the altitude, he'd taken off his hat and gloves.
He basically was hallucinating, took his hat off, his gloves were thrown away. He kind of reached out to me kind of in a zombie-like fashion. At that point, there's not a lot you can do for somebody.
Kedrowski had been in constant contact about the weather on Everest with his best friend and our meteorologist, Chris Tomer.
So we went from about a 30-mile-an-hour wind to maybe 100-mile-per-hour. The jet stream just backed itself right over the summit, trapped everybody.
It is the kind of danger Colorado climber Arnette is familiar with. He finally got to the top last year after 3 tries.
You don't know how your body's going to react. There's a number of things that just enter the equation that changes it all.
Right now, there are more than 300 climbers on Everest trying to take advantage of a small weather window in May to get to the top. And Kedrowski says he will try to reach the summit again in a few days, if it's safe.
I hope I get a chance to maybe go back up, but if I don't, I'm okay with, the fact that I was able to get through everything all right.
Now, a 5th climber is missing and believed dead. They're comparing what happened this weekend to May 10th, 1996, when 8 people caught in a snowstorm died on Everest. John Krakauer wrote the book Into Thin Air about that very day. Now, part of the problem this time, Lydia, is that so many people are trying to get up to the top of Everest. We talked about this small weather window in May. They all take advantage of that. Kedrowski told us there were 150 people at one choke point yesterday trying to get up past there, and you're stuck in this one spot. You can't move at altitude, 26, 27, 28,000 feet. When you're in those conditions for hours on end, you're in real danger.
And they also said that part of the problem these days is that more and more people are trying to climb Mount Everest, and they're not necessarily capable of doing it.
There are 32 teams on Everest right now trying to get to the top.
How many people have died trying to attempt
We
Mount
think about
Everest?
219 since the 1950s. And there's not much you can do. They have to leave the bodies there oftentimes.
Yeah. Well, all right, Jeremy, thanks.
You bet.
Back